From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday attended the 6th International Rice Congress or IRC at the plenary hall of the Philippine International Convention Center or PICC in Pasay City. The International Rice Congress is a scientific platform for rice-based food systems innovators to work towards shaping a food and nutrition secure future. Convened by the International Rice Research Institute or IRI every 4 years, the Congress brings together scientists, experts, and decision makers from the government, private and public sectors to formulate evidence-based solutions to some of the biggest challenges of the global rice sector.
Thank you very much, Senator Centevilla, for your kind introduction. And for those who do not know, Senator Centevilla is certainly one of the prime movers of the agricultural sector in our country. And that is why we always have her at these occasions, because we know that once she decides to work on something, it gets done. The Honorable Suon Sere, the Minister of Rural Development in the Kingdom of Cambodia. The Honorable Himanshu Pathak, the Secretary of Department of Agricultural Research and Education, the Government of India. His Excellency Shambhu Kumaran, Ambassador of the Republic of India to the Philippines. His Excellency Tul Traisorat, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand to the Philippines. Pasay City Mayor Imelda Calixto Rubiano, who is always serving as our host at these functions. The International Rice Congress Advisory Committee and stakeholder led by Chairman Ajay Kohli. International Rice Research Institute Research Director Bas Bowman. My fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for conducting this 6th International Rice Congress, which I am sure will promote the development and use of more quality rice varieties and technologies, such as the ultra-low glycemic index or GI rice. The discoveries in this Congress will pave the way for greater strides in the rice industry in the Philippines and across the globe. I look forward to seeing the innovations to be discussed in this Congress come to life, including the ultra-low GI rice in the near future. With every grain that we harvest, process, and consume, we gain the strength and nourishment that we need to continuously drive our lives, families, and nations forward. Everyone here is well aware that we all, in varying degrees and for various reasons, are facing problems with regard to the supply and price as well as quality of rice. As such, this Congress comes at an opportune time for us to compare and reevaluate policies, discuss ideas for enhancing global rice value chains, and introduce better practices and technologies. We need all of these to sustain our growth. Now that I am being given this platform to speak with you all, allow me to briefly share the situation that we are facing here in the Philippines. First, we understand that our issues with the price and supply of rice stem from several equally significant factors that need urgent attention. Aside from the global price of rice affecting our own here, the recurrent pounding of typhoons and other natural calamities affect our farmers' efforts and timelines. This influences both the quality and the quantity of our harvests. Criminal activities as well, such as illegal importation, smuggling, and hoarding, and other anti-competitive practices do not help the situation either. So seeing the complexities of the situation, we strive to approach it in a comprehensive and holistic way based on science. Aside from investing in research and acquiring machinery to give to our farmers, we try to provide them with more support through our National Rice Program and the Rice Competitive Enhancement Fund. This includes our rice farmers' financial assistance. We have also been working together with international institutions like the IRI and foreign governments, not only to ensure the steady supply of rice, but also to enhance the development and sharing of crucial technologies and strategies. We have likewise been working on our disaster preparedness and resilience so that the rice industry can respond and adapt to the effects of El Niño and other calamitous events. We also make it a point to hunt down the criminals who are involved in the illegal activities that I previously mentioned. With all these said, it is important to remember that not one of us alone can do everything that needs to be done. We have seen through the years what greater power we yield when we are united, just like how the first 5 installments of this Congress have brought about great progress in the international rice industry. So I enjoin all of our government agencies and, of course, our partners in the private sector to continue collaborating with the IRI and its partners in identifying creative solutions and mechanisms for a more robust rice industry. Your participation will surely inspire the rest of society and the entire global community to fortify our efforts for food security across the region and the world. It goes without saying, but I think it bears repeating, that rice in our countries means more than food. Rice in Asia, rice in the countries where it is the staple, is in fact life. And whenever we find ourselves in a situation where the supply of rice is threatened, this is almost an existential problem that ordinary people feel. So as I end, let me assure and challenge you in this way. We will spare no effort to ensure the growth of the rice industry here in our country, even as we safeguard the welfare of farmers and consumers alike. We will do everything to pursue and punish those who are involved in smuggling and hoarding. We will make them pay for their wrongful actions and remedy the situation. We will remain steadfast in our efforts to modernize the agricultural sector through open dialogue and consultations with our farmers and agriculture experts. As you now share and explore opportunities, I look forward to the transformation of our systems and, more importantly, of our world. Congratulations, and may the 6th International Rice Congress bring forth great harvest for the nations and the next generations to come.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday reiterated the need to amend the Cooperative Code of 2008 and highlighted the importance of cooperatives in helping farmers earn higher income. In his speech during the celebration of the National Cooperative Day in Malacañang Palace, the President said, "The amendment to the Cooperative Code of 2008 will ensure a stronger and more dynamic cooperative sector, especially assisting more farmers and fisher folks to increase their production." The bill on the amendments to the Cooperative Code was part of the 11 additional bills that the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, earlier added to the common legislative agenda. President Marcos stressed that cooperatives are very important, especially in helping farmers earn higher incomes. The chief executive thus called on the country's cooperative movement to start the consolidation process for local farmers' cooperatives associations, or FCAs, as consolidation will just give farmers a higher chance of being heard. President Marcos said he envisions a movement in which the cooperative movement, the Cooperative Development Authority, or CDA, and the government are working together. According to the president, strong cooperatives are key to improving the country's agriculture and ensuring food security, noting that the Philippines has been lagging behind Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam in terms of agricultural production. Through the cooperatives, the country could attain economies of scale, especially with the use of huge farm machinery for production and processing that in the end reduce food prices. He gave the assurance that the government would always be ready to provide for the needs of the CDA. As of 2022, there were 20,105 cooperatives in the country, around 1.8% lower than the 20,467 cooperatives registered as of 2021. Based on government records, credit and financial services cooperatives accounted for more than a half of the total cooperatives in 2022, followed by agriculture, consumers, and marketing cooperatives. Last year, the industry generated almost 335,000 jobs. The celebration is in accordance with Republic Act, or RA, number 11502, signed in December of 2020, which declares the month of October of every year as National Cooperative Month. This declaration aims to highlight the significant contributions of the entire cooperative movement to the country's economic growth.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday urged the private sector to invest in electric vehicle, or e-vehicle, manufacturing facilities in the Philippines. In his speech during the launch of the Dongfeng Motors in the Philippines, held at the Metro Tent Convention Center in Ortigas, the president encouraged the private sector to strive and help the government generate more employment opportunities in order to uplift the people's quality of life. President Marcos said the Philippines offer fiscal incentives which include income tax holidays, duty exemption of capital equipment, raw materials, and spare parts used in electric vehicles. According to the chief executive, the government aims to increase the share of electric vehicles to 10% or 50% by 2040. The Philippine president said the shift to electric vehicles is part of measures to uphold the country's commitment under the Paris Agreement. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Today, we move closer to the vision of building a smarter and greener future as we convene for the launching of Dongfeng Motors here in the Philippines. I convey my gratitude to the Legado Motors Incorporated for partnering with Dongfeng Motors in importing some of its electric vehicle models to the Philippines and offering them to the local market. We heartily welcome your efforts to help us actualize our goal to increase the use of electric vehicles in our transportation sector. Considering our continued dependence on imported fuels and the volatility of oil products in the world market, it is only sensible that we encourage the shift to electric vehicles. We not only get savings in fuel and gas, but also significantly lessen our greenhouse gas emissions and champion sustainability in our day-to-day activities. Owning an electric vehicle here in the Philippines also confers a wide range of incentives and advantage. Aside from having priority in the registration and renewal of registration of vehicles at the Land Transportation Office, owners will also get to enjoy exemption from the number coding schemes, amongst others. It is important to note that the promotion of the use of electric vehicles is among the measures of the government to uphold our country's commitment under the Paris Agreement. Under this treaty, we pledge to a projected greenhouse gas emissions reduction and avoidance of 75% for 2020 to 2030 in agriculture, waste, industry, transport, and energy. In the Philippines, the transportation sector is the largest source of energy-related greenhouse gas emissions. So, if we aim to fulfill our pledge to the Paris Agreement, we need to boost the share of electric vehicles in the total projected vehicle fleet nationwide. The government aims to increase the share of electric vehicles to 10%, or hopefully 50% by 2040. As of late 2020, there are just around 8,800 electric vehicles in the country. So to boost this number, we are working on the gradual shift to electric vehicles for public transportation. Currently, we are implementing the PUV modernization program. This entitles beneficiaries to special loan facilities and equity subsidies for the acquisition of electric vehicles. To date, nearly 400 electric public utility vehicles are plying 29 routes nationwide, bringing safe, modern, comfortable, and green transportation to the masses. In Davao City, over 300 electric buses have been deployed to pioneer an integrated, sustainable urban transport system. The Department of Transportation and the United Nations Development Program have also given electric public utility vehicles under its low-carbon urban transport project. More cities and urban centers are following suit. Now, some are testing the viability of electric vehicles and electric public transportation for their local needs and conditions. So it's my firm belief that these endeavors will not only gain momentum, but also wider adoption moving forward as our people realize the benefits of these vehicles in their communities. So I enjoin the public to support the programs and policies of government, as well as opt for alternative or renewable sources of energy. Let me also encourage the private sector to participate in our efforts to make the Philippines a part of the global chain of electric vehicles by investing in manufacturing facilities in our country. Strive with us as we generate more employment opportunities, enrich our people's quality of life, and fostering more environmentally friendly communities. In return, we offer fiscal incentives such as the income tax holiday and duty exemption of capital equipment, raw materials, and spare parts used in electric vehicles. So let me affirm once more this administration's commitment to support the Legado Motors Incorporated and its key partners in this very important endeavor. Let us harmonize all our efforts, as I'm confident that we will win the race for a more sustainable and energy-secure future. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday expressed his full support for the modernization of the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, to better protect the country's maritime domain. On the sidelines of the PCG's 122nd founding anniversary celebration at South Harbor's Pier 15 in Port Area, Manila, President Marcos emphasized the need to improve the Coast Guard's capabilities to enable them to defend the country's maritime security and rights.
The training and the capabilities of all our people, especially the Coast Guard, not only because they are on the front line in the problems now that we're facing in the West Philippine Sea, but also because of the very important function that they play when it comes to search and rescue, when it comes to maritime incidents, when it comes to even disaster assistance. Marami silang ginagawa. So we are continuing to the new vessel that we are seeing there, the 40-foot vessel that's made in Cebu. Yan ang isa sa ating mga itadagdag natin. We will eventually have 40 of them, and that will give us an increased capability. This is ongoing. The Philippines is lucky as we have many friends around the world, and marami sa ating mga kaibigan na karatig bansa, at kahit na yung galing sa malalayo ay tinutulungan tayo para pagandahin at patibayin ang ating Coast Guard.
In his keynote speech, the President thanked the PCG for its efforts to protect the country's vast maritime territory as well as Filipino fisherfolks. The Chief Executive said the Coast Guard personnel's integrity, discipline, and professionalism have helped his administration advance its collective vision of a stronger, more harmonious, and more resilient Philippines. President Marcos urged the PCG to continue its close coordination with other concerned agencies as it fulfills its extremely valuable and important mandate. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Today, we celebrate the rich legacy of the Philippine Coast Guard as we mark its 122nd founding anniversary. It is a good time to congratulate the gallant men and women of our Tanod Baybayin for reaching another milestone in the long and illustrious service of our Coast Guard. Let me first offer my profound appreciation on behalf of a grateful nation to the PCG for providing steadfast service and dedication to duty during times of calamity, for upholding our country's maritime security and promoting our maritime rights, for fighting against the entry of smuggled goods, for protecting our marine environment, and for securing the safety of our fisherfolk as they pursue their means of livelihood. Your integrity, your discipline, and professionalism in the performance of your mandate have helped us further our collective vision of a stronger, more harmonious, and more resilient Philippines. The Philippine Coast Guard remains steadfast in assuming a pivotal role in our continued promotion and protection of our country's sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction, and in being at the forefront of our efforts to ensure that our fishers and their fishing rights are respected and recognized throughout our vast maritime areas. All these efforts by the Philippine Coast Guard, while spearheading our marine environment protection and conservation efforts and ensuring the safety and welfare of all those who ply our waters, are deeply appreciated. Suffice to say, your accomplishments in the performance of your duty have consistently championed our country and our people's rights and welfare in the face of daunting adversity and difficulties. Despite all the challenges, the Coast Guard has unwaveringly answered the call of duty. For all of these and for more, I thank you. As we embark on a new chapter, I enjoin all of you to continue to work closely with other concerned agencies as you perform this extremely valuable and important mandate. Be assured that this administration firmly stands with you in your plans and efforts to improve, expand, and modernize the capabilities and services so that you may better contribute to the security and welfare of our people and of the nation. Together, let us consolidate and harness our strengths to ensure that every Filipino can reap the gains of our endeavors as well as lead more productive and dignified lives. Let us sail together in unity and harmony towards a more empowered, progressive, and sustainable future. Once again, congratulations to the Philippine Coast Guard on your 122nd funding anniversary. Mabuhay ang tanod baybayin ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday called on newly installed Presidential Security Group or PSG Brigadier General Jesus Nelson Morales to help him in protecting the Philippines under his watch. In his speech during the PSG Change of Command rites at the PSG Grandstand in Malacañang Park, Manila, the President expressed confidence in the PSG's role in protecting the country. The chief executive urged the men and women in uniform of the PSG to support their new commander. The change of command ceremony was held a day after Malacañang announced the appointment of Morales as the new PSG head. Morales is a member of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1993. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Now we honor one of the individuals who has helped ensure that my first and most crucial year in the presidency has been safe and sound. General Demi, I speak on behalf of the First Lady, Lisa, Congressman Sandro, Simon, and Vincent in congratulating you on your successful tour of duty as PSG Commander. Under your able leadership, you have kept me, the first family, visiting former dignitaries and foreign presidents, as well as the general public within the vicinity of Malacañang, safe and away from any serious threats to human or national security. You have also maintained and guarded the PSG's distinction as one of the best protectors of the land, worthy to preserve the presidency as a stern and reliable institution. With the unified efforts of the Office of the President and the PSG, you have successfully provided security to nearly 500 presidential events, both domestic and international engagements. You have also facilitated the conduct of training programs on VIP protection, which benefited the 545 PSG personnel. To further enhance the group's capabilities, you have led the acquisition of advanced and modern equipment under the multi-year Material Capability Development Plan of 2022 to 2028. There are also ongoing improvements in the PSG headquarters. With that being said, I wish you well and all the best in your new assignment as a commander of the AFP Civil Relations Service. You may be, we can safely say that you have left the Presidential Security Group a more capable, more efficient, and a better unit than you found. Your experience as PSG commander will undoubtedly come in handy for all that you will do in the future. For all the duties and all the commands that you will hold, I am very certain that your experience here with us at the Presidential Security Group will serve you well. Once again, thank you very much, Brigadier General Demi Segala, for your loyal service. We offer you our snappiest salute. As the PSG embarks on a new chapter, let me join you in welcoming our new commander, Brigadier General Jesus Nelson Morales. Thank you for stepping up and taking on this assignment as the next head of PSG. I am confident with your training, your experience, and overall competence, the PSG will continue to fulfill its role of protecting this institution. I certainly look forward to working with you. Let me likewise take the opportunity to express my gratitude to our valiant officers and troops. I trust that you will fully support General Morales, just as you did General Sagala, with your hallmark integrity, service, and excellence. Together, Let us continue to perform our duties to the best of our ability. Let us remain steadfast in safeguarding our country so that we can fulfill our sworn duty of providing a peaceful and secure life for every Filipino.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, on Wednesday, along with the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, and other government agencies, welcomed home repatriated overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, from Israel at Terminal 3 of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA, in Pasay City. Comprising of 16 individuals, including a 1-month-old infant, this is the first batch of repatriated OFWs since the conflict between Israel and Hamas started. Each of the OFWs received various forms of government assistance, including 100,000 pesos each in financial aid from the Agarang Kalinga at Saklolo para sa mga OFWs na nangangailangan, or Aksyon Fund, which came from the DMW and OWA. Aside from this, an additional financial assistance of 20,000 pesos were given to the OFWs from the National Reintegration Center for OFWs, or NRCO, and OWA reintegration programs. Other forms of assistance include psychosocial group counseling, transportation and accommodation, jobs training, and referral service, among others. DMW Officer in Charge, or OIC Undersecretary Hans Leo Kakdak, said that most of the repatriated OFWs were caregivers in Israel and have chosen to return home following a series of attacks perpetrated by Hamas forces that infiltrated Israeli territory. The OFWs thanked President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for initiating the repatriation program and for providing various forms of government assistance to them and their families. Undersecretary Kakdak ensured that the repatriated workers are able to depart either after completing their contracts or with the possibility of returning to Israel when the situation improves. He also assures them that their insurance benefits and other claims from their employers will be facilitated by the legal team from OWA and DMW. More OFW repatriates are expected to arrive in the country in the coming days.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, on Thursday confirmed that another Filipino has been killed in Israel following the Hamas attack on the country. The DFA said the victim was a Filipina caregiver working in a communal settlement in Israel when the Hamas militant group mounted a surprise attack on October 7th. DFA Secretary Enrique Manalo said the government has given assurance to the next of kin of its full support and assistance. Meanwhile, DFA Undersecretary Eduardo Jose de Vega said the fourth fatality was one of the 3 Filipinos declared missing. He said there is still no information on the 2 remaining missing Filipinos.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday delivered his departure statement at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City as he embarks on a trip to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to participate at the inaugural Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC Summit, which will be held from the 19th to the 21st of October. The ASEAN and GCC nations, which comprises Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, established ties in 1990. with both regional blocs working together towards strengthening cooperation and enhancing communication between various bodies. The ASEAN GCC Summit is the first of its kind that is geared towards advancing areas of mutual interest such as energy security, food stability, and economic cooperation, among others. During the visit, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, said that the President is set to hold bilateral meetings with officials of Saudi Arabia and Bahrain to reaffirm the Philippines' diplomatic relations with the two countries. Regional and international issues will also be discussed, including recent affairs in the Middle East. President Marcos Jr. will likewise spend time to be with the Filipino community in Riyadh. Let's listen to the departure speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
I leave for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia today to attend the ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit. I will meet with ASEAN and Gulf Cooperation Council leaders to discuss the challenges of major geopolitical developments and the comprehensive and concrete enhancement of our security, our economic progress, and socio-cultural collaboration after more than 30 years of ASEAN-GCC relations. I would like to point out that this is a particularly important conference because this is the first interaction between ASEAN and the GCC, both of whom are very vibrant regions in terms of economic development for the globe. And that is why the Philippines needs to be part of that discussion. It gives us, the Philippines, a unique opportunity to advance our priorities in ASEAN under the ASEAN-GCC framework, while forging closer cooperation between the two dynamic regional organizations. This summit will serve as an important platform for the Philippines to highlight the need for cooperation in energy and food security, logistics, supply chains, digital information, the free flow of goods, people, and services, as well as the enhancement and protection of the rights, of course, of our overseas workers. We will emphasize our advocacy for a rules-based international order to maintain peace and security, stability in our regions. GCC countries are home to an estimated 2.2 million Filipinos working in critical fields. I will be meeting with the Filipino community in Riyadh to share with them important developments here at home and to thank them for their invaluable contributions. We will see to it that our constructive engagement with ASEAN and our partners will continue to serve our national interest and the well-being of the Filipino people. Before I end, I would just like to make a comment because one of the important aspects of this trip will be for us to introduce the Maharlika Investment Fund to the rest of the world and certainly more specifically to the Middle Eastern countries. I was a bit alarmed by the news reports early this morning that I read in the newspapers that we have put the Maharlika Fund on hold. Quite the contrary. We are, the organization of the Maharlika Fund proceeds apace. And what I have done, though, is that we have found more improvements that we can make specifically to the organizational structure of the Maharlika Fund. The concept of the Maharlika Fund as a sovereign fund or an investment fund, the concept remains a good one. And we are still committed to having it operational before the end of the year. So we should not misinterpret what we have done as somehow a judgment on the rightness or wrongness of the Maharlika Fund. On the contrary, we are just finding ways to make it as close to perfect and ideal as possible. And that was what we have done. And this has been in consultation not only with our economic managers, but also with the people, the personalities who will actually be involved in the fund. And that's why their inputs have been very important, and that is why we are going to now utilize them to make it a better organization. And with that in mind, we are encouraged by the reaction of our friends in the Middle East and for that matter around the world to the fund. And we're very encouraged that we are going down the right path. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat at magandang umaga po.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, soon after, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. arrived at the King Khalid International Airport in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Thursday to attend the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Gulf Cooperation Council or ASEAN GCC Summit. The president had a roundtable meeting with Saudi business leaders. During his meeting, President Marcos Jr. announced on the Philippines' readiness to strengthen the country's economic relationship with the Gulf Cooperation Council's country parts. The chief executive said that the more than $120 million worth of agreements would provide job and training opportunities to 15,000 Filipinos. President Marcos said the Philippines had initiated important legislative amendments to existing laws to further open the economy to foreign investments. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you, Secretary Pascual. Minister Khalid Al-Fali, distinguished guests from the Saudi government and the business sectors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of the Philippine delegation, I wish to thank you all for participating in today's roundtable meeting. I also wish to thank the Saudi Ministry of Investment for co-organizing this meeting with the Department of Trade and Industry. I am pleased to note that the immense support that the ministry, led by His Excellency Minister Khalid Al-Fali, has provided us in making this event possible. It is my first visit to the region since I assumed the presidency in June of 2022, and I am most grateful to be welcomed by your confidence in the Philippines and the Filipino people. The kingdom is home to the largest population of overseas Filipinos in the world, as close to around 1 million OFWs, or overseas Filipino workers, as well as the largest community of Filipino professionals in industries such as engineering, architecture, and healthcare. I also wish to acknowledge the valuable contributions of the companies who are taking part in strengthening this cooperation. With an estimated value of over $120 million, the agreements that will be signed today are set to benefit more than 15,000 Filipinos in training and employment opportunities across a wide range of professions in the construction industry. To our current and future business partners, I hope that this meeting has served as an excellent platform for building greater and closer partnerships between the Philippines and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This meeting happens at such an opportune time as the Philippine economy continues its high growth trajectory. Our economy has sustained its growth momentum with gross domestic product at 7.6% in the last year, the fastest rate of growth recorded by the Philippines since 1976. Meanwhile, foreign direct investments posted $9.2 billion in net inflows last year. Our financial and banking sectors are healthy and robust. Our credit rating continues to receive stable and positive investment grades. Indeed, the Philippines' economic achievements in the past year reflect the sustained efforts of this administration, supported by the private sector, in fostering an enabling business environment, cutting red tape, lowering the cost of doing business, and improving competitiveness. I assure you that the Philippine government is steadfast in its commitment to continuously support current and prospective Saudi investors. The Philippines has initiated important legislative amendments to existing laws to further open the economy to foreign investments. These include the Foreign Investments Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, the Public Services Act, the Renewable Energy Act, all of which aim to attract more foreign investments in important sectors such as telecommunications, port operations, transportation, and clean energy. Moreover, foreign investors are able to enjoy fiscal incentives made available through the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act. I urge you to further engage with my economic team to learn more about such benefits. We also stand ready to welcome you to our tropical countries so you may personally see what a globally competitive Philippines can offer. At the forefront of these opportunities is the recently launched Maharlika Investment Fund, the Philippines' first ever sovereign investment fund designed to drive long-term economic development through increased investments in high-impact sectors. We look forward to benefiting not just from Saudi investments, but also from the Kingdom's extensive experience in managing such funds. So as we take part in the ASEAN GCC Summit currently being hosted by the Kingdom, we continue to reaffirm our readiness for deeper economic partnerships, not just within the Southeast Asian region, but as well as with our extended neighbors here in the Gulf. We hope that the Philippines will be your chosen gateway to the ASEAN and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP economies, which was earlier spoken about. And on that note, I hope that the Saudi business leaders present here today will further make it happen in the Philippines. I look forward to seeing that this meeting we will further engage our two countries and will develop and explore opportunities that as yet we have not discussed between our two countries. We hope to see all of you to visit the Philippines, to see what the opportunities are, and for us as well, for our part in the Philippines, to bring our teams to the Kingdom. And further, we already have a very strong and a very long-standing people-to-people relationship, which can serve as a very good foundation for any future endeavors between our two countries. However, we should not limit ourselves alone to the labor market. We should also explore the new businesses that have come up since the end of the pandemic economy. And that is the area where I think that the GCC and ASEAN will find as a fertile ground for future investment, and also for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Republic of the Philippines to further strengthen the ties, not only in trade, but in areas of telecommunication, healthcare, energy, and even agriculture, as what's been spoken about. The central tenet of our plans for development in the Philippines is very much to regard our private sectors as partners in this development program. We recognize that government is good at many things, but there are other things that the private sector does better. And with that partnership, we can look forward to further growth, further strengthening of our relationships, and a better future for both our countries.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page at Radio Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radio Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.